Jen SX1000. It's a relatively simple, basic, single oscillator, monophonic synthesizer, but it's not too bad. It has some unique functionality you might be interested in. Okay, first of all, let's start off with the waveforms, because without the waveforms we don't have anything. There is saw, square, and pulse, which we'll get to later when we're talking about the super fun stuff. But first, let's address this bizarre tuning. The SX1000 apparently has a DCO as its oscillator, the old-fashioned sort of DCO where you have a square wave sound source that's adjusted digitally for tuning. However, it has this weird mod where there is a voltage control aspect that controls the pitch of the DCO. So you have a tuning knob. It has 4 octave settings, the 32 foot, (16 foot), 8 foot, and 4 foot. The SX1000 has a vibrato circuit, which is to say it has the modulation source, which is probably a triangle wave, is directed to the oscillator just on its own without any real control except for amount, which is pretty awesome. But still, it does have very primitive, basic pitch modulation in the form of a triangle wave, and they call it vibrato, which is, I guess, what it is. As it currently is set, sounds a little bit like one of those cheesy electronic organs, which is awesome. You have the control over the amount of vibrato, and you control the vibrato, of course, with the low frequency oscillator speed. You have 3 different waveforms to choose from. The saw, which we've been hearing. The square. And the super cool pulse. And I'll show you why the pulse is super cool. First of all, we got the general pulse sound, which isn't too bad. Then we have pulse width control. You can control the width of the pulse wave, which is awesome. It goes from 50% to 5%. That's about halfway. You have a wide variety of timbres when you can control the pulse width of the square wave. Well, it's a square wave that you can control the pulse width of, but they call it the pulse wave. That's fine. And you can control the pulse width of it. So that gives you a lot of timbral variety, but we can't stop there because the fine folks at Jen also gave you pulse width modulation. So you don't have to sit here and turn this knob, they'll do it for you. It's controlled by the LFO speed, so that's going to play into it. Let's hear what it sounds like. Changing the pulse width will change how the pulse width modulation works, which is pretty cool. also add in the vibrato along with the pulse width modulation, which is also affecting the pitch to a certain degree. We only have one LFO, and it's only doing one waveform, so unfortunately everything that's using the LFO is using that same LFO waveform, and you've got a number of things. You have the pitch modulation called vibrato, which is using that waveform. You've got the pulse width modulation, which is using that waveform. You also have, over in the filter section, the LFO, which will affect the filter cutoff point using that same speed. So it's going to be, you pretty much are stuck with that. It'd be nice if there were a bunch of different LFOs to affect all of these various different things that are using the LFO, so you could get different speeds, but that's what happens in a more expensive synthesizer, unlike this one. You also have glide, or portamento. You have a noise circuit here that not only comes with white noise, but also pink noise. And that's pretty cool, because usually for noise on cheap synths, they've just got, you know, white noise and you can turn it on or off. But you have a volume control, so that's pretty cool too. They've given you the ability to have two different types of noise and a volume control, so you can mix it in with the oscillator. So let's play with that. White noise. And then the pink noise. But they've also given you the option that if you don't want the oscillator in there and you just want noise, you can turn down the oscillator level. We were just listening to the pink, here's the white.